Another day of cold temperatures, but will they stick around? National supply chain issues are impacting kids right here in Norman, and the latest from last night's high-profile elections. This is OU Nightly. Hello, thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Mecca Thompson.
And I'm Katie Arata. We begin tonight with the latest on the colder weather.
Catherine Liberta joins us live on campus to explain what we're seeing out there today.
Catherine, how are you feeling out there?
Yeah, I am freezing out here. Even though I've got my layers on, it's still very, very cold. And if you take a look behind me, you can see some of the trees have started to change their colors. We're starting to see a lot of reds and bright oranges. That's because fall has been in full force over the last week. Now, we haven't reached our peak just yet. Some of the trees are still holding on. North of us, they are starting to see those fall colors reach their peak. But if you remember last year, we had that ice storm come through, and that damaged a lot of those trees, and we didn't get to see those fall colors. But we should be reaching our fall peak in the next 2 weeks. And so if you get the chance, go outside, you know, take some pictures, maybe even go to a pumpkin patch, because we are going to start to see those temperatures start to heat up. So just enjoy that fall weather while you can. But stick around, because Colton Williams will have more on when exactly we could see those warm temperatures next week. Ladies.
Supply chain issues across the nation led to empty shelves in grocery stores. Local schools felt the impact of shortages as well. OU Nightly's Elise Jones reports on how schools have been impacted by the nationwide food shortages.
You know, to say that it hasn't been interesting would be a lie. It's been interesting.
As supply chain problems continue, solutions must be found.
Things that we're dealing with now has opened our eyes to better planning, being ahead of the game, not waiting till the last minute on things.
Norman Public Schools cafeterias feed hundreds of students daily, and with food shortages across the nation, they've been planning ahead to ensure students stay fed. It
kind of limits at times what we have. It's not like before where you were getting consistently the same thing all the time. Now it's kind of a modge podge of items.
The shortages are sporadic and include utensils such as trays and plates.
Some things have been at times hard to get, but then the next week we'll be able to get what we couldn't get the week before.
Staying flexible and planning for shortages has been key these past few months, but frustrations still occur.
When you're planning on getting supplies in, and at the last minute, the delivery comes and they've shorted you something that you needed.
But despite the behind-the-scenes struggles, students still see their favorite foods, snacks, and have multiple meal options. Elise Jones, OU Nightly.
Norman Public Schools plan to continue to work ahead to avoid having a lack of food or utensils for students.
And last night, Virginia stunned the country with a shocking election victory. Tyler DeLuca has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world.
Thanks, Mecca. Yeah, after an election night shock, Virginia is back to red, with Republican Glenn Youngkin being elected as governor. President Joe Biden campaigned for Democratic former Governor Terry McAuliffe and had predicted a Democratic win just hours prior to the final results. During the presidential election, Virginia's Electoral College votes went to the Democrats in a double-digit victory. Youngkin is now the first Republican since 2009 to win the statewide office in Virginia. Now, Democrats face questions of policy as the 2022 midterm elections loom. And voters in Minneapolis have decided against the measure to change policing in the city. The measure would have allowed city council oversight over a new Department of Public Safety. It would have also removed a minimum number requirement of officers according to city population. The rejection of the measure now slows any momentum for massive change of the Minneapolis Police Department. This measure was created in response to the murder of George Floyd last year. And earlier today, Senate Republicans blocked the John Lewis Voting Rights Act from advancing. The vote was to decide whether or not to open debate on the new legislation. The bill is focused on fighting voter suppression and updating parts of the Voting Rights Act passed in 1965. For the bill to move along in the Senate, at least 10 Republicans would have needed to support all 50 Senate Democrats. A bipartisan compromise version of the bill was brought to the table earlier this week, but needs the vote to pass to be offered as an amendment. And the Supreme Court is poised to expand Second Amendment rights after a recent New York handgun law. Back to you two at the desk.
Thanks, Tyler. Members of the Oklahoma Legislative Black Caucus called on Governor Kevin Stitt to approve clemency for death row inmate Julius Jones at a press conference this morning. On Monday, the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board voted 3-1 recommending Governor Stitt provide clemency and a commuted sentence for Jones. State Representative Jason Lowe emphasized that the death penalty is not the answer.
The legal standard in the state of Oklahoma is beyond a reasonable doubt. And I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, this case has nothing but doubt. It's filled with doubt.
With 15 days remaining until Julius Jones' execution date, members of the caucus will continue to show their support while awaiting the governor's decision.
There are more than 600 new cases of COVID-19 today. This is according to the latest numbers from the Oklahoma State Department of Health, and this increase brings the active caseload to a little over 5,000. The CDC says more than 11,000 people have died from the virus in Oklahoma, and experts say about 50% of Oklahomans are fully vaccinated against COVID-19.
Norman officials are installing something new to local parks that will benefit communities. OU Nightly's Miles Hartman reports on what changes are being made throughout central Oklahoma.
COVID-19 vaccination pods will be held in various locations all throughout Norman Parks, starting every Saturday of this month. Norman Parks and Recreation staff says that this will not be your typical place to get vaccinated.
It's not like going to Walgreens or to Walmart to get a shot. It's a little bit different. We try to make it a fun atmosphere. We have music going on in the background. We have a lot of talk, making sure everybody's feeling comfortable. So there's a lot of incentives to come out here and get a shot. So it's not, and it just benefits the community all the way around. You're protecting yourself, you're protecting your neighbor, you're protecting grandma and grandpa. And it's just a lot of benefits that goes along with that.
By installing pods in local parks throughout Norman, officials have hope that other cities in Oklahoma will follow this trend as well.
Be able to help your local economy as well as people getting vaccinated. The incentive program helps restaurants that we're getting gift cards to as well. So we're able to help local businesses and individuals. We think it's great for everyone in Oklahoma, and we hope other cities do it as well.
As Norman officials continue to help everyone in the community, the main goal is to help put an end to this pandemic and ensure that everyone stays healthy. Miles Hartman, OU Nightly.
Each pod offers incentives to Norman residents such as $500 gift cards and AirPod Pros.
And if you are looking for a place to get the COVID vaccine, Norman is offering something unique.
Find out more about where and how these vaccination pods work when we return. Plus, President Biden delivered some criticism at the COP26 summit.
More on his remarks after the break. Voting for SGA's general election is happening now. OU students can cast their ballots through OU Engage using their phone or laptop. Students can vote for president, vice president, and Congress district representatives. The representative students can vote for who will depend on their major and minor programs.
So I think a lot of students don't really know that they are already a part of the student government association. We all are as soon as we become students at OU. And so I think it's really important for students to go out, take the few minutes to vote, and elect those who can really make tangible change on our campus.
Voting will end Wednesday at 7 p.m. and unofficial election results will be announced shortly afterwards. Official results will be announced at the discretion of the election commissioner.
In today's Earth Report, the United Kingdom is making some great plans for climate finance. Shannon Ehrhardt has the details.
Thanks, guys. President Biden returned to the White House early this morning after day 2 of the COP26 summit. Biden criticized both the Russian and Chinese leaders for not showing up, saying their absence was a big mistake. But the Moscow Kremlin rejected Biden's criticism of President Vladimir Putin. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Russia's climatic actions cannot be timed to coincide with any event, and that these actions are consistent, serious, and well thought out. Peskov says he hopes when Biden and Putin meet in person, they can work out climate issues. And the UK plans to commit $136 million towards the climate crisis. With this money, the UK plans to be the world's first net zero financial center. At the COP26 summit, the UK's finance minister said they'll be rewiring the global financial system with around 40% of the world's financial assets to be aligned with Paris climate goals. The UK will also issue billions of new climate bonds to fund renewable energy in developing countries. And you may have blown some big bubbles in your lifetime, but it's nothing compared to this super bubble. Astronomers are trying to figure out how a hole that's 250 light years wide punched its way into the N44 nebula. Scientists found just one supernova remnant in the hole and identified a 5 million year age difference between stars within and at the rim of the bubble. An exploding star also could have been the culprit, since multiple chain reaction star forming events are likely. But don't worry, guys, we should be pretty safe from these explosions, since N44 is still 170,000 light years away.
Thank you, Shannon. There is a new cafe opening right here on the OU campus.
Find out what makes this cafe unique when we return.
In Colton, it has been very chilly this week. Will we need to stay bundled up?
Yeah, it was a dreary day out there today. Dark, drizzly, cloudy. We've got all that and more coming up. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Nightly, thanks for joining us. I'm Colton Williams. It has been a dreary day out there today. Lots of low clouds, some drizzle. It's cool. Now the clouds have lifted just a bit. We can now see the top of the Capitol Rotunda. You couldn't earlier today. Up and down Lincoln Boulevard, folks probably have the heater on in their car. It's 47 now. Once again, cloudy. Winds out of the east-northeast. Still, once again, been a pretty cool, pretty textbook fall day for us here across the metro. 47 here in Oklahoma City. Weatherford, 46, risen just a bit from the last couple minutes. Clinton sitting at 45. Across the state this afternoon, we are in the upper 40s for most of us here in Oklahoma. Ardmore trying to get to 50, probably won't do it. Up in Woodward sitting in the lower 40s, 43. But hey, we're wedged between these two jet streams here. We've got this, what we call the subtropical jet now, and then now we even have the polar jet setting up here. That's what's leading to a lot of these freeze warnings, frost advisories, some even snow going on up here in the New England portion of the United States. So winter is arriving, at least fall is really beginning to dig its heels in here in Oklahoma. But over the last couple days, had a little bit of rain here, picked up half an inch in Oklahoma City, a third of an inch in Norman, a little less than half an inch in Ardmore, but down in the Texoma region, seen just over an inch of rain. So it was a good amount of rain here. Western Oklahoma did miss out just a bit, but as we go throughout the next couple days now, we have a pattern shift kind of coming up, so it is cool right now. That's going to continue to slide off here to the east. We'll have a warmer weekend. Get ready to build in. This weekend's actually looking really, really nice, looking 5-star this weekend as you get into your Saturday and your Sunday, but then as next week reloads, warm continues. That'll again continue to move off. And then here we go, setting up mid to late next week, what we would call our first Arctic blast setting up here in Oklahoma. That again arriving sometime late next week, really beginning to see what's possible for our first freeze come late next week. So, but all right, jumping back here to tonight, 5 p.m. sitting at 49. We'll drop all the way to 46. Those clouds, that drizzle will dissipate just a bit. And then the time change coming this weekend. Get ready to gain an hour of sleep, but lose an hour of daylight as you head into this Sunday and throughout the rest of this week. So tonight, 40s, tomorrow sitting in the upper 50s, and then throughout the rest of the week again seeing 70s by the weekend. Ladies, back to you.
There's a new cafe opening soon in Headington Hall on campus, and their mission, make healthy lifestyle choices easier on campus. The Be Healthy Cafe will take online orders starting November 15th until the cafe is finished. Amir and Cindy Alavi opened their first cafe back in 2007 after gathering multiple recipes for a healthy lifestyle. They took those recipes and made it into a cafe for everyone to enjoy.
We have a variety of recipes to satisfy people of any caloric or dietary needs, whether you're gluten-free or you need extra protein or you need 500 calories from your smoothie or you just need a 250-calorie lunch. We provide many options for people to customize what they need and also what they like.
You can check them out at one of their 8 other locations.
That sounds like such a cute cafe, but now it's time to talk some sports.
The Atlanta Braves won the World Series last night, taking down the Astros. Saul, I'm not happy with those results. Are you?
Yeah, I personally wanted to see the Astros lose, but didn't everyone? Plus, the Sooners added some fuel to their fire when the college football rankings were announced. We'll show you their reactions when sports returns. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Saul Meyer. We crowned a new World Series champ last night as the Atlanta Braves won it all for the first time in 26 years. After going up 3-1 on Saturday, Braves fans were starting to feel a little anxious of the 3-1 curse after the Astros won Game 5 in Atlanta. Nevertheless, the Braves were able to close it out last night and win their first World Series since 1995.
Describe that last out from your perspective, knowing that you caught the ball. What'd you do with it?
Yeah, well, the ball's in my back pocket still right now, but
can you pull it out?
I can pull it out. It's right here. I got it. It's already authenticated and everything.
Now on to the Sooners, which is usually our top story. The College Football Playoff Committee released their first official rankings last night. Let's take a look at who made the top 4 and where OU ended up. Coming in at number 1, we've got the Georgia Bulldogs, followed by one-loss Alabama, surprisingly undefeated Michigan State, and another one-loss team in Oregon. A notable team left out of the top 4 is the only 9-0 team in the country, the 8th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Some of the OU players thought that they should be ranked higher than 8. Here's Caleb Williams' reaction quoting Michael Jordan's "I took it personally" line from The Last Dance. Isaiah Thomas's reaction was short but not too sweet, and wide receiver Marvin Mims agrees. Say less. The Sooners are heading into a bye week this weekend, and their mentality has not changed.
Not a ton different. There's a few little things here and there that we'll do as far as kind of recovery and getting some guys back, but still going to get a lot of work on the field.
Oklahoma State Hoops had their NCAA appeal denied and will now miss this year's postseason play. The ban was made when former OSU associate coach Lamont Evans took bribes to make sure better recruits did not come to Stillwater. Controversy reigns as the Cowboys are still feeling the effects of this ban, even though current head coach Mike Boynton was not on the team when the events took place. The Sooners men's and women's basketball teams get started next week after exhibitions against Rogers State. New men's head coach Porter Moser replaces legend Lon Kruger after he retired at the end of last season. The men got off to a great start to their season after beating Rogers State 106-57 Monday night. Returning players have high respect for both coaches, but also see a difference between the old and the new.
Porter is always fired up. He has a ton of energy and excitement, and every day he brings it, from film to practice to going to dinner.
It's Wine Wednesday, so that means it's time for our Whiner of the Week. This week we've got our first father-son duo, the Beckhams. Odell Beckham Sr. posted an 11-minute video on Twitter blaming Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield for the reason his son's numbers aren't what they used to be. Head coach Kevin Stefanski responded by excusing Beckham Jr. from practice today. Odell Sr., you and your son can enjoy this nice bottle of wine from your couch, since your tweet might have gotten your son kicked out of Cleveland. Ladies, back to you.
Thanks, Sol. My favorite part about Halloween is definitely all of the candy.
Yes, mine too. Stick around to see what these trick-or-treaters did with some of their Halloween candy.
I'm Dana Searles at the OU Nightly Update Desk. About 97% of Air Force service members have been vaccinated in time for yesterday's deadline. 8,500 have not been vaccinated, and 5,000 of those have applied for religious exemption. The requests are expected to be evaluated within the next 30 days. Back to you in the studio.
For most kids, Halloween is all about getting as much candy as possible. But this year, a group of youngsters showed that it's not just about taking, it's also about giving.
3 fifth graders in Rhode Island were finishing up their night of trick-or-treating when they arrived at a home where there was no candy left. The kids decided that they had enough candy and wanted to make sure other trick-or-treaters would not leave empty-handed.
One by one, they each added some of their own stash to the bowl. The boys say giving away their hard-earned candy wasn't too hard because what they did was the real treat.
Wow, what a heartwarming story.
I agree. Colton, do you have one last look at our forecast before we close out?
Coming into this weekend, get ready to turn your clocks back this Saturday. Sunrise nearly at 8 a.m. Sunday after your healthy 1 extra hour of sleep. The sun coming up an hour earlier and yes, setting an hour later. So unfortunately looking at sunsets in the 5 p.m. hour coming up soon. But this weekend does look beautiful into next week, talking about 70s. Ladies, that's all I've got. Back to you.
Thanks, Colton. And it looks like that is all the time we have this evening. Thank you for joining us for OU Nightly live from Gaylord Hall on the campus of the University of Oklahoma.
Make sure to stay warm and tune into OU Nightly live every weekday at 4:30. Good night.